करुणापूर्णसुधाब्धे कबलितघनविश्वरूपकिरणावल्या अरुणाचलपरमात्मन् अरुणो भव चित्तकञ्जसुविकासाय ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः 28. किं स्वरूपमेत्यात्मदर्शने अव्यया भव पूर्णचित्सुखम् बन्धमुक्त्यतीतं परं सुखम् विन्दतीह जीवस्तु दैविकः किं स्वरूपम् इति आत्मदर्शने. What is my truth? What is the nature? What's my reality? When that is recognized, when that is seen, see, the word seeing is used to mean, seeing is considered to be the most, potent pramanam in our vyavahara. That when I see means it's very clear. So that seeing is used in Shruti quite commonly. So even Brihadaranyaka will say what? Atma vare drashtavyaha. It doesn't mean seeing. It means seeing through the Shruti. It does mean seeing, but it's not seeing with the means of knowledge we have, because with that we cannot see this truth. So it is Atma Darshanam is only Atma Vicharena. And what is the Vichara? It is Pramana Vicharena. And how Pramana Vicharena? Guror Mukhat Pramana Vicharena. All this has to come in. Otherwise, Darshanam is not a possibility. If we understand Pramanam, the means of knowledge I have can only reveal objects, can only reveal what can be objectified, and I am not objectifiable. If this one truth hits home, the idea that I will know myself in another way will drop off. It makes a difference. It seems simple, but that understanding doesn't sink in. Because then when you read this Shastra, you don't read it with a view to just understand meanings of words. What you want to understand is yourself. If you want to understand yourself, which means you don't know yourself, we don't know ourselves, which means whatever I know about myself is untrue. So the entire Shastra is helping me understand whatever I know is not true about myself. If that is understood, then, which means every impression, every conclusion I have about myself, if any of them was right, then Shastra is not a Pramana. Any conclusion, if it is Pramana Prapta, I saw, I saw I'm a white man, then it cannot be, because it is not Shastra. When Shastra has to say, it means whatever, and Pramana is about what? About me. What kind of a me? Not a me which is unknown, a me which is ever known, but is always mistaken. Never known as it is. whatever is known is not wrongly known, inadequately known. Because whatever is known is me. Whatever is known as I is me alone. The body is me alone. The mind is me alone. Senses are me alone. But that much alone is not adequate, because that is what makes me feel small. This much alone is me, everything else is not. So, this much alone is me is not Atmadarshanam. Kim Swarupam. This is Rupam. Kim Swarupam. Rupam is fine. Form. But form is shown by the eyes, by the ears, by the mind. It is not Swarupam. Therefore, Darshanam, for Atma Darshanam, you need to go for Shrutis Pramanam. There is no other way. And what is Shruti going to tell me? It is going to tell me where I am wrong about myself first. And once it tells me, once you knock off all the things that you take for yourself clearly, this cannot be me. How much ever I feel this is me, this cannot be me. If that becomes clear, now our mind is ready to receive what Shruti has to say. Until my eye is limited in some way to this body or mind, to say that the entire cosmos reality is one which is me is impossible to understand. So this is dosha darshanam. What I am seeing is what I think I am is dosha, it is wrong, it's a mistake. Is that clear to me? That is the first step here in Atma Darshanam. That is why method is nayiti, nayiti, nayiti. Whatever you take yourself, for each of those notions, the Shruti will say what? Na. Anything you say, any one word you add to I am, na. Negate. Negate with understanding. Why? Because it is a drishyam. It is a drishya. Drishya means what can be objectified, an event which happens. It comes to become evident, and therefore it is not the truth. Then what is the truth? That which is self-evident. What is self-evident? Don't try to explain. That is me. The meaning of I is just that awareness which is me. That is called Chittva Darshanam. And that Chittva Darshanam, seeing that awareness and being awareness, being something which is not to be made evident, it is self-existent. Seeing that there is one self-existent, self-evident reality alone I am, everything else depends on its existence for me. Therefore, I alone am the reality. I alone am the substantive. Everything else is an ornamentation for me. This alone is Tattva Darshanam. This is reality. I saw the Rangoli, so I thought, let me explain Rangoli well. Chittva Darshanam, Tattva Darshanam. Good Rangoli. Okay? So, this is the truth. Now, a person thinks, this is not what I wanted. Bandha and moksha arrangement is there. I don't seem to have gotten anything. Same body, same mind, same people, same headaches. Everything is continuing. Physical headache, okay? But if the person thinks this so, and he says, no, I want moksha, then what is the answer? Bandha mukti atitam param sukham. Bandha atitam. Atita is what? We say beyond. One translation people give is beyond. Beyond bandha. What is beyond? What is beyond? Beyond moksha. Transcendental. Another translation. Correct. But what do we understand from it is the question, okay? So now somebody says, your moksha is not what it is, I want to go beyond moksha. Atitam. This problem also exists. So somebody apparently, somebody had a name. His name was Beyond Ananda. So he is beyond everything. So anything he is beyond. So moksha means beyond that also. What is beyond? What does it mean? What is the meaning of beyond? The idea is Shruti itself says what? It is not knowable with the mind. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha. That from which the mind along with senses comes back. It tries to grasp it and it beats a retreat. It cannot objectify it. Why? Pramanam for existence is not eyes, not mind. Self-existent alone, in that the mind shines. That's the meaning. Stop trying to objectify. Is that enough? Will I know myself? No. Then understand that everything you objectified has no independent being. You are the only one who has an independent being. Therefore, all of them are an appearance in you. This is Vedanta. This alone is moksha. The idea of bandha, that I am bound, is my mind's projection. Just like it says, I am no good, I am a man, I am educated, I am uneducated, I am ignorant, I am knowledgeable. All these are what? My own thinking. And my own thinking is my cocoon. This is why example given is koshakara. Koshakara means what? The silkworm. What does the silkworm do? It's spinning a pupa around itself, the silk around itself. Now you humanize it a little. It is doing this because it wants to be protected. It is securing itself in a fortress. And what it thinks is securing it becomes its undoing. Because it has got this silk, it's taken and put in a cauldron and it dies. So the very kosha which you think, the very layers of protection you try to get, security, that very idea that it's a security is your undoing. Therefore, what you think is bandha makes you look for moksha. And the way you look for moksha is you try to secure yourself with other means and ends. Therefore, this, what we are talking about, is atitam. It transcends it. In what sense? It is not trying to address it accepting bandha as real. There is no bandha. There is no bandha. That is moksha. There is no bondage. There is nothing that binds me is freedom. Now what is freedom then? Freedom is not a positive thing. Freedom is negation of bondage. It is also naiti. There is, Swamiji says something positive. Positive, I have to say what? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Then don't take the attributes. That is you. If you bring an attribute, it is not you. Because attribute means you will now say, I am one substantive and I have an attribute. You will again say Satyam is comes and goes then. Attribute is not necessary. Therefore understand that which is the truth, that which is the reality, that in which the seeming bondage and freedom appear, that truth is me. Bandha muktiyatitam param sukham. Why is param sukham? Param means what? That which cannot be improved upon. The last word. Param. Why is it the last word? Because is there another thing now? Once you understood this, is there anything else? Is there a subject? Is there an object? What else can you come up with? To come up with something, the knower must be there. I know one, I'll know one more thing. Then namni namani. You keep opening up, it will keep opening up. It's endless. Therefore, it has to be param. What is param? Param means There is no space other than this. There is no time other than this. There is nothing in time and space outside of this. Your thoughts are also in time, if not in space. Therefore, everything is one Kabbalita. It's all taken in by this one understanding. Understanding, it's not something which is one understanding came, it went away. It is an understanding after which there is no more need to do anything more. This is what is said, Bandha Muktyatītam Param Sukham. This is the Sukha. Sukha means what? Comfort. Total self-acceptance. Unconditional self-acceptance. Swamiji, even now I accept myself unconditionally only. My problem is with the whole world. That is what I don't accept. Let the world be. What is your problem? If you are okay, what's your problem? No, the world should change. Why should it change? I don't like it. It doesn't matter. You don't like it, doesn't matter. You are unconditionally accepting yourself. Then only the conditions come out. That unless things are the way I want them, I can't accept myself. Not the world. I can't accept myself. So self-rejection, self-judgment is the problem. But the self-judgment based on my notions. When those notions are knocked out in the wake of what is being said, all Shruti is saying first is whatever your notions are, you are not. Then if every notion is knocked out, I don't know where to place what I am. You are saying that because you still see a world which is other than you. You have to see that the world other than you, which you said is not you to start with, that the reality of it happens to be yourself. Now there is nothing more. Therefore, there is nothing to obtain, nothing to get rid of, nothing to change. Past was me, future will be me. If there is future, so-called future, there is nothing other than me. Even who I pray to, that Ishvara, also his Swarupa is me alone. This is Param Sukham. Because once you relax, there is nothing more to be done. Because there is no cause for concern. And even if a concern arises in the mind, what do you say? That concern is also me. That is the story. So then, when do you gain it? Vindati iha jivastu daivikaha. Iha. Iha is where? Now. Two ways you can look. Iha, in this lifetime. Not after death. Right now. Iha cheda vedit atha satyamasti. If you know this reality, when you have this human body, when you can know, that is called truth. You got your truth. Nachediha vedit. If you don't recognize this truth when you have this wonderful human body, mahati vinashtihi. That E can be extended, Colossal. The loss is not ordinary, it's a colossal loss because you lost the limitless. Anything you gain is no gain when you're looking at the limitless. When you don't get the limitless, the loss is limitless. Therefore, the gain is the gain of the limitless. And when should you gain it? In this lifetime. Take it one step further. Iha, here, in this Shastra study, not later. Even as the sentences are told, you see your reality. There is no postponement. There is nothing that will happen later. As it is told, you see, this is me. This is called pramana. There is no postponement. Because we are talking about you. It's not that I have to go outside and see what's there in some place, in some other time. Future it will come, it will become evident. It is ever evident. And every place is that, every thought is that. Then why the postponement? Why the postponement? There is no reason for postponement. Iha upadesha kale. Right now. This means the knowledge is immediate. It is not something which is immediate not only in terms of time, immediate in the sense, the mind is not involved in filtering and giving you some new understanding. Whatever the mind thinks, the whole mind, the thought which occurs is myself. Therefore, there is no mind intervening. Whenever the mind intervenes, its prejudice, its own coloration, you cannot avoid. It's like looking at the world through glasses. If I'm wearing colored glasses, can I avoid seeing the world as colored? It's an impossibility. How do you remove the glasses? You don't remove the glasses. You recognize, even as I wear the glasses, what the glasses brings in is an object of my understanding. It's an event. I am the one in whose presence it happens. You don't need to remove anything. We don't destroy the mind. We see that the mind doesn't have a being independent of me. The world doesn't have a being independent of me. This is the vichara phalam. So in the Prashnopanishad, it will say, etavad, I think, etavadhi anushasanam, may not be exact wordings, last prashna. Because the students are asking, there are 6 students who have come and they're asking questions. And the 6th question's answer, in that at the end the teacher says, because after the teaching the fellow says, what else is there to know? Then what can you say? No, this is all there is to be known. Similarly, Kenopanishad, after the whole Upanishad is over, the fellow says, he didn't understand. What does he ask? Upanishadam bho bruhi. Please teach me the Upanishad. What will the Guru say? I told you the Upanishad. Now the word Upanishad also has the meaning secret. I told you the Upanishad. What is the Upanishad of the Upanishad? What is the secret due to which you didn't get the Upanishad? Adhikaritvam is missing. Work on it. Tasya damashaddheti pratishtha. So he tells you what could be the cause why what should have been daylight to you doesn't become daylight. To make it daylight, you need to work on it. So sometimes the adhikaritvam comes in the end, because the way Shastra works, it first assumes, in Shastra's view, you're perfect. It assumes you're fine. It tells you. Only when you say, I don't understand, then adhikari will walk in. Then all the sadhanas will walk in. Until then, nothing. See, Gita also opens by saying, ashocyan anvashochastam. If you understand, it's over. One sentence, it's over. Don't understand? Okay, next sentence. This is how it progresses. So, vindati iha. Who gains it? Jivaha. What kind of a jiva? Daivikaha. Daivikaha means what? Devasya. Deva sambandhi. What is Deva here? Here understand, Deva is the one who has Daivi Sampad. What is that? Preparedness. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. You bring everything you want now. Viveka, Vairagya. Whatever you understand, Adhikaritvam. What is Adhikaritvam? Lina Manasam. What is Lina Manasam? One who can more or less accept the world as it is. Doesn't get totally absorbed in changing the world and changing this body-mind all the time. Is able to relax. Only when you relax, then you have the space to drop all these external things and see it as only a drishya. If you are committed to it, you cannot see it as just an event which is coming and going. Then you want to hold on to it. Therefore, he's saying, Jivastu Daivika. So, see the words, every word in Sanskrit, if not every, most words you have to look at contextually. You cannot take the meaning. Now the word tu. The word tu can mean but. On the other hand, the word tu can also mean indeed. Okay? So Pujya Swamiji takes this as indeed. But another person says, you know what? The tu is telling you, every fellow cannot get this. Upadesha is given. But everyone understand. Who will understand? Tu. Daivikaha jivaha alone will understand this. A person who has grown up sufficiently with respect to the mind, who has a Shuddha Antahkarana, Mala Vikshepa Rahita Antahkarana, a mind which is free from the hold of likes and dislikes. You will never be free from likes and dislikes. Don't set yourself up for that. I should only attempt to be free from the hold of likes and dislikes, free from the pressure of likes and dislikes. Vega. Vega means what? I can't but fulfill my desire. Then no knowledge will work. Anger is vega, pressure. It just makes me impulsive. Right? So much crime happens because of impulse. Impulse you cannot hold. And what is growth? The antakarana shuddhi, that impulses don't drive me. I am not impulsive. I am deliberate. And if deliberation has happened for a lifelong time, then I am spontaneous without being impulsive. The distance between spontaneous and impulsive seems, you can't see it. Because my anger seems to be spontaneous, but that's impulsive. Spontaneous is when we use the word. Any word could be used for anything. We use the word to mean you have grown so much that you don't need to look into it to do. There's no need for deliberation. So the two, I'm saying both meanings fit. This or that, both will fit. And you can bring both in. That the one who has grown, therefore he has got Daivi Sampat. One without this growth cannot get it. Therefore, Vindati iha. Vindati means you find. Find not outside. As what? Atma Darshanam. We saw that earlier. Atma Samstitihi Swatma Darshanam Atma Nirdvayat Atma Nishtata. 26th verse we saw. Keep in mind, Ramana's whole teaching is he tries to say, don't go away from yourself. Hold on to yourself and keep knocking out all the wrong impressions. And to be able to do that, earn the grace. One line, Upadesha is, know yourself. If you can't know yourself as you are, you need grace to be free from all the hangovers. Do that. Know yourself. Don't go anywhere else. Just stay. Be with yourself. Therefore, don't go anywhere. Who am I? Who am I is vichara with shastra. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay? So now the Upadesha is done. Ramana, what is Ramana doing? You should remember. He is writing this Upadesha to append to Muruganar's work, which is, Shiva has come as a brahmachari and he's gone as a bhikshu, he's asked, he's led away all the women and these fellows are trying to destroy him, cannot destroy. Then they do namaskara and say, what is going on? And he says, look, all your powers, why do you want more powers? You have enough and more. What will you gain with this? What do you really want? Tells them your purushartha that you're seeking. What you're seeking is not some power, not some end. You want to be free from this need for doing something. This won't come from this. Then how will we get it? Shiva taught. And Ramana is doing Shiva's job. Ramana is Shiva now. And he has written that. So now, conclusion. Ahamapetakam Nija Vibhanakam Mahadidam Tapo Ramanavagiyam. Ramanavagiyam. This whole 29 verses you saw is Ramana's teaching. Ramanavagiyam. Upadesha. And what is its nature? What is this? It is Mahat Tapaha. Mahat Tapaha means what? A great penance. So somebody says, Swamiji, this Upadesharam will make me free. I have read people stood, on one leg and did tapas, penance, They were sitting for 1,000 years and they were meditating. And somebody went and stood in Ganga and meditated all the time. We have so many tapas. And come life after life, I have heard, that how many leaves are there in that tree? That many lives you have to finish. All these are there. How this can do the job? There is no tapas involved. No penance. You get it like that, just like that by jnanam, without tapas. No. Jnanam is tapas. And it is mahat tapas. Why is it mahat tapas? Tapas means, the word tapas means heat really. Tapaha. What do you do? How do you heat yourself? Why do you heat yourself? Not heat. You afflict yourself. You deny something to yourself. You deny something to yourself in order to grow. That is called tapas. So somebody was feeling very hot, couldn't handle heat. He did a tapas. Somebody I knew. He said his tapas was in Chennai, in midday, 12 p.m., he will sit outside with 2 blankets on him or 3 blankets on him. He will sit. For 1 hour he will sit in the hot sun. He says, after that, I never had a problem with heat. Because he decided, I will put up with it and I will see that it doesn't matter. It's the mind which says, hot, 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 hot. See to it. Body sweats. That's a fact. Mind sweats. That's not a fact. So he said he did this. And he said, after that, the Chennai heat never bothered me after that. See what tapas can do. What we complain about, you go into it saying, I will see its falsehood. It can't bother me. If you have that capacity, it can do a lot for you. This is tapas. So many tapas are there. What is this tapas? This is jnanamayam tapaha. Knowledge, gaining this knowledge is tapas. And why is it mahat tapas? Why it's so great about it? In all other tapas, the fellow is still surviving. And he has one more tapas to do. Because he is not satisfied. He is still a limited being. He still wants something more. Now we'll take next tapas. It's like you finish one project. One project is over. Then what? What's the next project? Corporate life. You have one project is getting over. Before it gets over, what do? They line up the next project. It's like before you take out one Coke can, the others are already there in the dispenser. So that when you take out one, you will never miss the next one. So tapas after tapas after tapas. Where are you still? In need of more tapas. And doing this tapas, you are sweating it out. Tapaha. What is this tapa? It is the tapatraya. What is tapatraya? 3 kinds of affliction. What are they? Centered on your notion of yourself, the world, and you blame Bhagavan also. What has Bhagavan done? What kind of life has he given me? What kind of body? What kind of time? Everything is a source of trouble. This is called tapatraya. Tapatraya santaptanam. Ones who are scorched by this 3-fold affliction, what is the way out? This is the tapas. The tapas which will free you from the need for tapas. That is why it is mahat tapas. This is the last word. After this, there is no more to be done. Krita krityaha bhavati. It's all showing you fulfillment. Therefore, it is what? Mahad idam tapo. You can even have a pun on the word Ramana. Ramana here is a name. Venkata Ramana. But Ramana is Anvarthanama. He is true to his name. What does Ramana mean? The one who delights, the one who brings delight. Both. Rama with niche, without niche. Both will give Ramana. Null. Null? Not sure. Anyway. No, not null. Ramana won't be null. It will be Liu. Liu Pratyaya will come. So the point is, Ramana is one who delights in himself. Ramate Ramayati Va. Because actually, a person who is totally self-accepting, when you are in their presence, you feel good. This you could see. And this is very evident about Ramana's, what people chronicle about him. They go to him and they are just fine. People have said here also, they would go to Puja Swamiji, they would try to beat him. They have questions. When they go there, no questions. It just goes away. How? We don't know. People go and say they go to Amma and she hugs people. Somebody said he went with a great sankalpa. that I will ask something. But he says it vanished. He couldn't do it. I mean, nothing came to his mind when he hugged. It went away. This is some vibhuti, okay? This is not something, Swami, I should be like that. That's not the idea. But the idea is when you're totally self-accepting, there is no hurt in your mind. No. That you don't think of it. There is one story that somebody would go and play. Was it I don't think it's a Jonathan Seagull story, but there's a story where somebody would say, I go and play with the seagulls. And the father says, they come near you? Yes, they come. Okay. Can you catch one and bring one for me? Every day the birds come and, they play with him, they sit with him, they're very comfortable. On this day, father says, bring. No girl comes near him. The birds sense that now this fellow he's not going to let us be what we are. So self-acceptance means you totally let things be. Therefore they say, in a presence of such a rishi, tiger is fine. Deer is also fine. Sri Sringeri's story is that the place where he went, there's a snake, a cobra, with the hood wide open, and it is sheltering a frog which is spawning, which is laying eggs in the midday sun. How a snake for which that frog is food, why it is protecting it? Therefore, legend, okay? Therefore, Shankara said, this is a very special place. There must be glory to this place because of presence of glorious people. So he decided to install Sharada Ambika there. What I'm showing you is just the presence of such a person. Because they are self-acceptant, which means you don't feel judged because they don't judge you. There's no judgment involved. You're okay as you are. And once you are okay as you are, you feel validated. Whatever I am, I'm accepted. This is how a Mahatma is. That they want you nothing from you. They don't want you to be different. You want to be different. But they will say you're okay. So Swamiji would say in a class, everybody is perfect. What should I tell to whom? It's amazing, You would just sit, watch people. Swamiji, why Swamiji doesn't talk in the beginning? Because I'm seeing everybody is perfect. Everybody is Ishvara. What do I have to tell you? Then I have to assume a role, Okay, I have to do some job here. That's what a vision. What a vision. That is what it is. That is what Ramana was. That's where I went from. Delights in himself means not because of something. Why are you happy? Why should I not be happy? I am happiness. Why should I not be happy? Happiness doesn't come and go. That is Ramana. And what's the tapas now? Ahamapetakam nija vibhanakam. Ahamapetakam means what? Aham. Which aham now? The aham which you started with. Two ahams were talked about. One is aham, which is present before you start. Then after that aham is manonasha. What comes after that? Aham iti spurati hrit swayam. Not that second aham. First aham. Aham apetakam. Means apeta means gone away. Dropped off. Dropped off because it was never there. Dropped off by seeing the fact that it never was there. Apetam. What went away? What went away? Aham apetam. Aham went away. Why did it go? How did it go? What is aham apetam? You did marganam tu kim. Manasam tu kim. Margane krite naiva manasam marga archavat. All you had to do was do inquiry. Remember the fellow in the wedding who has privileges from both sides. When did he vanish? As soon as they joined to inquire, he just vanished. Same way, as soon as you start inquiring to the mind, it will have to run. How do I inquire into the mind? Mind is not what is inquired into. The problem is not the mind. The problem is I. I who take the mind as me, who take this body as me. This is an unholy alliance. This unholy combination is called by Shastras as, it is called as the Granthi. Granthi. Avidya Granthi. Granthi means a knot. A knot, if you pull the knot in one way, the knot gets knottier. You have to know how to unravel a knot. And I always like to give the example of these rice bags, which would have this 3 strings. And when you pull one of them, it just opens. If you pull the other one, you need a knife or a scissor to keep cutting everything. And you'll say, why is this so difficult? But if you get the hang of it, it just opens. This is Granthi. If you try to do it with karma, it will get knottier. But if you know how to pull the string just comes off because it is not really part of the rice bag. Okay, so here, this Granthi. So you know what? What is this jiva? Deho na janati sato na janma. Deha doesn't say I have a problem. And sadvastu, the truth, never is born. Then who is this? Anyaha udeti madhye. One fellow in between somehow udeti. He comes up. Who is that? He is called Granthi, Ahankriti, Bhava, Jiva, Nama. You have a lot of names for this fellow. We will see this in Saddarshan. This verse comes there. So, and the one who catches hold of this fellow, Grasitva, he takes him. That fellow, Lasati, he shines then. So the idea is this: there is no possibility of a mix-up between a partless, self-evident, self-existent reality with a world which you see is all parts and to be made evident. The two cannot be married. Yet the marriage is there. How? It is only a mistake. Why did the mistake happen? That is Agya. That's how it is, the setup. What should you do? You inquire into it. By inquiring into it, what will happen? That will drop off. Aham apetam. It's gone. And interestingly, apetam, you didn't make it happen. There is no karma involved. Apetam. It drops off in the wake of pramana vichara. Vichara is pramana. Pramana is there. You have to vichara with the pramana. And what does it do then? What does pramana vichara do? It is nija vibhanam. See, vibhanakam, aham apetakam. It looks like the ka is a swarthe kan pratyaya. Looks like it. Because no other explanation fits. You can't form a word apetaka. Because apa, I. And then that ta is ta pratyaya. Apeta. So, aham apeta. Apeta is bhave. It's gone away. Aham apeta. It should be aham apetam. Why aham apetakam? That's why I'm saying there's an extra pratyaya which doesn't add value. Swarthe. So, aham apetam, meaning. And what is that? Nija vibhanakam. Nija means what? Me, myself. Nija swarupa. Nija means sometimes it's called truth in the vernacular. But Nija means one's own. In Hindi, ये आपका निजी घर है क्या? Niji. Nija. That same Nija. That Nija means one's own. So what is Nija Vibhanakam? Vibhana means what? Bhanam. Bha, to shine. What is bhana? Bhana can mean shining. Bhana can also mean that which will cause things to shine. Vibhana. Both meanings are possible. Vibhavayati. So, vibhana, see, there's a pratyaya called chanash, which is tatshilya. Tatshilya means it is always so. See, when we say Ishvara, what does Ishvara mean? Ish means to rule over. Ishvara, varach pratyaya, means always rules over. Same way, here, similarly, bhasvara, always shining, Nashvara. Always getting destroyed. Jagat is what? Nashvara. Why? It never has a being to start with. What is Atma? Bhasvara. Same Bhasvara, Bhana. Chanash Pratyaya will come. But Chanash is Kartari. Therefore, you bring in Lut also. It is both, it is shining, and the Karta, Karma is all in one. Grammatically, you can see that beauty there in the word. But the whole point is, there is only, what you see is, yourself is just Chit, which is shining, self-existent, self-shining reality. Nija Vibhanam. What is this tapas? The tapas is that which brings about, this tapas of knowledge, brings about the dropping of the wrong notion that I am this ahankara, this jiva. We saw what? Whole mind, jagat is because of mind. Mind means thoughts. Thoughts is I, and that I is the linchpin. That fellow is knocked down. Then what remains is only this chaitanyam. That is nija vibhanam. When aham drops, when manasam, when manonasha happens, what happens then? The aham shines. The real aham shines. Therefore, nija vibhanam. Nija what? Not some other reality. The real me. When the false me, when the notional me is dropped, the real me obviously shines. But nothing is dropped. Dropped only cognitively. The real me continues the body, continues the mind. But how? You also become Ramana. So, this is the whole Upadesha. The entire Upadesha is Ahamapetakam, Nijavibhanakam, and understanding this, doing this, recognizing this is Mahattapaha. And for this Mahattapa to be effective, you may need a subsidiary tapas, secondary tapas. What is that? Karma Yoga. That you have to do. That is tapas. You have to do. You cannot sit and say, I have studied. It will do. It won't do. That is this whole Upadesha Saram. All right? Now, what is Upadesha? We finished the text, okay? Now I'll just see what we can do with it. What is Upadesha? Don't worry. Be happy. Have you heard that? If you worry, you make it double. So, don't worry. What is this called? Advice. Am I worrying because I want to worry? The fellow says, it sounds nice. I think it's Bobby McFerrin or somebody like that. Old song, but very popular at its time. Because you are happy to hear this. So he says, if you don't have money, you don't have somebody to make you smile, don't worry. Be happy. And if you're sorrowful, I'll give you a phone number. You call me, I'll make you happy. Huh? No, it's not Bob Marley. This is Bobby McFerrin, I think. Yeah. So, Bob Marley is different. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't kill the deputy. You have to say that, okay? Buffalo Soldier is Bob Marley. Yeah. Nice songs. Even Bob Marley has got a beautiful number. I think there's something like a little bird sings. There's some song like that. Don't worry about a thing. Everything will be is okay. No, something like that. Correct. What's that again?
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause
every little thing is gonna be all right. That's the song. And some bird sings it or something like that. Nice song, Bob Marley. But this one is Bobby McFerrin, okay? What do they say? Don't worry, be happy. But there is a lot of wisdom in the next line. When you worry, you make it double. When you worry, you make it double, okay? It's not an ordinary insight. And in the end of the song, he says, whatever makes you worry will go away. Anityam. That much is good in the song, okay? But what I want to point out is that is advice. I am not worrying because I want to worry. I am worrying because I am helpless. I don't know how not to worry. I don't know how not to resist. This is called advice. Upadesha also sometimes is taken as advice. Upadesha is not advice. Here Upadesha is teaching. Because first translation can be what? The essence of advice. No, it is teaching. Upadesha is dishadhatu, to instruct, to teach. Upa, samipe, means what? How close can he be? The teacher knows you are not other than him. That is Upadesha then, really. So, Upadesha, Sara. Sara means what? That without which it is not. What is an orange without orange juice? Sara. What is a Sara? As said, we started. Where does every human being start one's life? We start our life not knowing ourselves, and we don't know the world either. We are given the means of knowledge by which we objectify the world. And we discover that we can make ourselves smile in some situations by changing some things, by achieving few things. Then I assume that this is what I can do. I have to keep doing. Therefore, karma param. Karma, that action centered on myself, is the means, and my happiness or my sorrow is because of the world. This is where we begin. And I struggle to make myself more significant, more happy in the world. This can happen recognizing only I and the world, or after some time, after some beatings, I say, no, there is one more power which helps me too. I bring Ishvara, but Ishvara as a person who is remote, but who listens to me somehow. He seems to have his ear to the ground. Occasionally he seems to agree with me. Sometimes I pray to Ishvara. I prayed a lot to Ishvara. Please solve this problem for me. And somebody comes in front of me at that time. And I think God has sent this fellow to solve my problem. Later you find that fellow didn't solve the problem, he created a bigger problem for you. So that is your assumption that God sent the right guy to you. That is your subjectivity. And then you say, therefore, God doesn't deliver. Now onwards, I won't ask him anything. That is the result of subjectivity. See, these things we have to understand. That what I imagined God, that it's all, I told you, even God is a concept in my mind. That God gave this as a concept. God didn't give it as a concept. Then Swamiji, God exists or not? Hey, exists but not as you understand. Exists as the order, as the law. Now the person says, with God, without God, I am tired. I'm tired. I'm bruised because I'm fighting this world all the time. Is there a way to relax really for good? Is there a way out of this problem, this worry? Just don't worry, be happy doesn't do his job. The fellow heard him, then he comes to us. How do I stop worrying? That's when you have to come to us, okay? How to stop worrying? Then we'll say, Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. The results, the outcome of all your efforts come to you based on your efforts. Your effort is not discounted. All your efforts are counted. Your whole life is a tapas. Mahat tapas only happens when your life is tapas. All that is true. But the chariot doesn't run on one wheel. It's not a monorail. It has got two wheels. And therefore, Ishvara Anugraha you need to gain. You gain it. Even then, depending on the two vectors, your effort, your present effort versus your past effort, but the whole world's way, what result comes is not in your hand. The result will come. Whatever you should get as per the order, you will get. That's all you will get. Learn to see that is prasadam. Have the attitude that what you got is an order. You're free to make every effort. Don't resist. Because understand, resisting it will make it double. So I thought that's a good Upadesha, Don't worry. If you worry, it makes it double. Without Bhagavad Gita, you have advice. And then, once you understand, start seeing more of Ishvara, you know better. But this Karma Yoga attitude, to be able to see everything, order the Ishvara, you need to learn to appreciate the presence of Ishvara. You need to build up a relationship with Ishvara. And that is done by activity initially to explicitly relate with Ishvara. And you explicitly relate with Ishvara through karma alone. And what are the karmas? It can be at the level of the body, kayikam, vachikam, manasam. All the three. Manasam is involved in all three. But kayikam, when it's there, manasam has to be there. But when it's manasam, kayikam, vachikam need not be there. So within this, there's a gradation. So what is the best of pujanam? When you can see the whole world as an altar for your puja. Ashtamurti bhrit deva pujanam. To get there, you have to work. You have to understand. So now, next is what? Vachikam. What is the best of Vachikam? First, loudly you do a praise. Like we did Kala Bhairava Ashtakam yesterday. Loudly we did. That is called Uchcham. Then you make it lower volume and you make it quieter. Finally, there's no need to say it. You're able to do it in the mind. See, many a time doing it aloud helps you stay with it. When you try to do it in the mind, this happens. Without our knowledge, it happens. Then you realize after 1 hour it's over, you don't know what you did. So, sometimes loudly is better. Loud means activity. When you feel sleepy, you have to do some action so that you wake up. So when you're meditating, you get sleepy. So what do? You have to do something about it. So this Vachikam. Then what did he say about Vachikam? Let me go to the next step. From Vachikam, you glide into the same thing you're saying aloud, but with the mind. That becomes Manasam. So Manasam Japa is the best. It is not really Vachikam, but he's showing how you glide from Vachikam to Manasam. And Japa is a great sadhana. Why? Because each thought has to be there. The same thought has to be repeated, which means you have a say over your mind. What you think next, you decide. Not just what you think next you decide when to drop a line of thinking. It's a great ability to have. And that won't come unless we train ourselves, like weightlifting. Therefore, japa, sadhana. Then what? After japa, dhyanam. Dhyanam you are trying to do. What are the impediments to dhyanam? Sleep is one impediment. So you sit every day. Night you don't get sleep, but when you sit here, you get sleep very nicely. What to do? At home also it will happen. Now what happens? After a few days you will say, Swamiji, it's always sleep. I'll stop this japa. That won't help. You will remain where you are. So if you feel sleepy at home when you're by yourself, get up, do something. Do a sit-up or two. Breathe briefly first, try. If that also doesn't work, Swami said, if still the fellow sleeps, do one thing. You go to a wash basin or a tap, cold water. Put your head below, like this. Let the water pour. Then, you will never sleep after that. Because if you sleep, you have to get this treatment. You have to get this treatment. Basically, there's only one way. You have to wake yourself up. And if the mind is going away, you have to bring it back. That is japa. That's another reason for frustration, I won't do japa. Why? Because Swami, my mind never stays. Why should I do? No use. It's a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. Only by wasting time for a few days, you will grow to a point where you will say it's not a waste of time. Don't give up. Don't give up. Like a child was told, hey, the seeds, if you sow, they germinate. It sowed the seeds. Every 5 minutes it removes one and did it germinate or not. It never germinates, okay? can't do that. You have to allow that to happen. Why this distraction? Because there's lack of vairagyam, grow in terms of objectivity. There's no practice, no abhyasa. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihhyate. Very important for dhyanam. We do that. Where will dhyanam? What kind of dhyanam is good? Is dhyanam of separate from me good or dhyanam with oneness good? He says abheda dhyanam. Even though you don't know, you see there is one undivided whole, and that is what I'm doing dhyanam to. That is better. Right? So this dhyanam is done. Then what? You did dhyanam, all this happened. Where should it be bringing you? You should bring you to Lina Manasam. What else can you do? You can do prana and manas are two branches as though one Shakti. Therefore, you can use pranam to manage the mind. Or, as I told you, you can use any means to temporarily manage the mind. But Ramana talks of this pranabandhanam. Pranabandhanat lina manasam. So, how lina manasam, don't worry, because you may have done pranabandhanam in your last life also. You may have done a lot of practices. Therefore, already you have a mind which resolves. There are people I have seen who come to a Vedanta class and they have come because they are having these, experience they can't explain. They just spaced out. Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And they are getting afraid. So they come to find out what is it about. And people struggle for Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So you see, both sides are there. One who has Samadhi is struggling because he is afraid of it. Other fellow who doesn't want things, that's the means for freedom. Which is true? Neither of them is true. Knowledge alone will free you. But that ability, Samadhi means the mind is well placed without moving. That's all Samadhi really is to start with. That kind of mind you need. So you use pranabandhanam or any other means to get there. And we normally talk of a direct approach, which is why we look at saying, grant freedom to the world. It's called, Swamiji says, make it cognitive all the way. The pursuit is cognitive. The more you understand, and of course there's one thing, how to make my action in keeping with my understanding. There is no help. I have to do it. Unless I do it, will remains unfree. Have to do it. That we do. So then, this mind which is now a little attenuated, at that time you use it for inquiry. That time is even good for Shravanam. You do inquiry, then what's coming in, you understand. And when that inquiry happens, the mind which has become lightened can become enlightened. And what is the method of inquiry? I have to inquire into myself. What is that myself? That myself is the one who has all these thoughts. So you're not inquiring in mind, you are inquiring into I. So this is Tvam Pada Vichara. Who am I? That is not enough in itself, because unless after removing not I, that not I whole, not I pile must be resolved back. Otherwise, they will still, you will say, I'm consciousness, but the whole world bothers me. Won't work. Therefore, all the not I's, Vigraha Indriya Pranadhitamaha Naham, they are all not. Why? Tat Jadam. They are not self-illumined. They are asat. Why? Because whatever is not illumined, asat there is mithya there. Jadam. Whatever needs to be illumined is evident to me, becomes evident to me. Whatever becomes evident to me is in time. Whatever is in time has a beginning. Whatever has a beginning came from something before that. Therefore, it doesn't have an independent existence. Therefore, the entire world that we can objectify is mithya and jadam, both. Then what is ajadam? The only one is me. So in one swoop, he says, with that one verse, you can see that I am self-evident and I must be self-existent, and all these have no place to hang. So all these really are appearances in me. That is a very significant verse to know. Then what? Is existence and Chaitanyam separate? They cannot be, because what is self-existent cannot be self-existent unless it is self-evident. And what is self-evident cannot be self-evident unless it is self-existent. Therefore, sattaya hi chit, chittaya hyaham. How do I abide in this? It is Atmanishtha. How is Atmanishtha going to come? By Atma Darshanam. And how is Atma Darshanam? Because Atma Samsthitihi. What is Samsthitihi? Atma Nirdvayat. Because you cannot go away from that. Right? What is the outcome of this? Is Parama Purna Sat. It is Avyaya Abhava Sukham. Chit Sukham. That which doesn't change, that which doesn't get born, that which is always there, the limitless whole is discovered, recognized by you in this process. Now, one more thing you keep in mind. When we do this business of saying you objectify everything, the word Sakshi is used very often in the Shastra. And the Sakshi, first when we say Sakshi, the Sakshi is Ahankara. The Sakshi is the one who sees. But the word Sakshi is not to be taken all the way in the same sense. It's a relative Sakshi. That Sakshi, when understood, that Sakshitvam also has to go. Don't take that as because once you say there is Sakshi, Sakshyam, what looks and what is witnessed, and the witness becomes as real as witnessed. That distinction also has to go. So we have to be cautious. This Sakshi word is a problem. You have to understand the Sakshi word is used initially in the Prakriya Avastha purely to help you to do Atma Anatma Viveka. Not I, Drigdrishya Viveka. But finally there is no Anatma. Really there is no Anatma. You have to embrace Anatma back as Atma. And that is why I'm saying, then that Sakshi is not Sakshi, he is Kevalo Nirgunascha. He is the only truth. The word Sakshi becomes Swabhava Sakshi. Means very nature of Chaitanyam is to illumine all names and forms. Okay? So this is the whole teaching. What is the Saram? Saram is recognize that you have no problem. You are the whole. How to recognize? Enquire into your truth. And to inquire into your truth, become one who is Daivikaha, one whose mind is able to abide to a certain degree, is not disturbed, and has discovered that nothing out in the world is going to fulfill me, and nothing out in the world can in fact put me down either. They neither have the capacity to elevate me, nor do they have a capacity to put me down. Therefore, the world I am not interested in. Now I'm only interested in who am I. And that inquiry is done with the help of Shastra, with a person who understands Shastra, and then the inquiry blesses me with the understanding that I never was limited. I was always free, and now I know that I was free and I am free and I will never be bound. Bandha and moksha are both just my own mental constructs. This is the whole teaching. Okay? So that's the Sara of the Upadesha Sara. When we meet later, you will get a book on Upadesha Saram by Pujya Swamiji. Therefore, even if you forget everything I said, you will have a book to hold on to. And in the book, there is a summary at the end. So you can look at that also if you don't have time for more. Okay? So, it's 8:15 now. Should we chant the whole thing? It'll take 10 minutes. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. You want to repeat or you want to do together? Up to you. That way you will have something to follow later. Okay? Repeat. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. Karma kim param कर्म तज्जडम् कृतिमहो दधौ पतनकारणम् फलमशाश्वतं गतिनिरोधकम् ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकम् कायवाङ्मनः कार्यमुत्तमम् पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगद ईषधीयुक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुच्चमन्दतः चित्तजञ्जपध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समम् सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् भेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिदा पावनी मता भावशून्यसद्भावसुस्थितिः भावनाबलाद् भक्तिरुत्तमा हृत्स्थले मनः स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधाश्च निश्चितम् वायुरोधनाल्लीयते मनः जालपक्षिवद्रोधसाधनम् चित्तवायवश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोधने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतम् प्राणबन्धनाल्लीनमानसम् एकचिन्तनान्नाशमेत्यदः नष्टमानसोत्कृष्टयोगिनः कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्थितिं यतः दृश्यवारितं चित्तमात्मनः चित्वदर्शनं तत्वदर्शनम् मानसन्तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विध्यहं मनः Ahamayam kuto bhavati chinvatah aipatatyaham nija vicharanam ahaminasha bhajyahamahantaya Spurati hrit swayam paramapurnasat idamaham padabhikyam anvaham ahamilina ke pyalaya sattaya vigrahendriya pranadhitamaha nahamekasat tajjadam hyasat sattvabhasika chitkvavetara sattaya hi chittaya hyaham Isha jivayor veshadhibhida satsvabhavato vastu kevalam veshahanata swatmadarshanam Isha darshanam swatmarupatah Atma samstite swatmadarshanam Atma nirdvayad atma nishtata Jnana varjita jnana hina chit Jnanamasti kim jnatumantaram Kim swarupametyatma darshane Avyaya bhava purna chit sukham Bandha muktyati tam param sukham Vindatiha jivastu daivikaha Ahamapetakam nija vibhanakam Mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam Mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam Last thing. The right way to approach this is first reduce the Jagat understanding to Ishvara. Bring so much Ishvara in your life that you see Ishvara. And then all we have to do is see Ishvara Swarupa is not different from mine. This is how Pujya Swami would always put it. Because you cannot bypass Ishvara. Who am I sometimes becomes a means to try to bypass Ishvara, it won't bless. May we understand all that is here is Ishvara, and that Ishvara Swarupa is not different from my Swarupa, which is Parama Purna Sat. Okay? Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om